Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, the best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rewind. It's that weekly show RN and I do. We just talk about the latest wrestling that's happened in and out of the ring over the last week. Hey, we got breaking news. Breaking news, RN. Vince McMahon is getting set up. He's about to be fired.
Isn't that what I said was going to happen?
I think you did. I think you called this.
I literally called this because I knew that's what was going to happen.
So, yeah, this is going to be a breaking news episode because just as RN and I were setting up to do the show tonight, a report dropped that's been being spread pretty much everywhere, essentially that Vince McMahon or the people at TKO, special committee members, essentially were released a statement on Vince and rightfully labeled him a quote-unquote risk factor, and we'll dive more into that later on. Yeah. But yeah, Vince might be not long for the his job. But anyways,
whatever that is at the moment.
Yeah, whatever really that is that he does now at this point. I mean, granted, he did get credited for the Saudi Arabia deal for UFC for Dana White.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he plugged them in. I mean, that's his people. I mean, we've been going there, almost 10 years now?
Pretty much. It's been a while. So, but before we do all that, you guys, this is a live show that we like to do over here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Twitch.tv/SmackedRaw, youtube.com/SmackedRawPodcast, and then my personal Facebook is you can find the show. We do it live Tuesdays around 9:30 o'clock at night Eastern Time. Of course, the replay is always posted to YouTube the following day. And then, of course, the audio version is found everywhere you go. So hit subscribe, like, the 5-star review on podcasts, all of that fun stuff. We greatly appreciate it. It helps share the show and get more people to interact with us. But yeah, so tonight we got lined up, man. We have a good show lined up. This week, RN, I went ahead and I decided to not play it by ear, even though we love doing it by ear over here on the Rewind. But I'll run you down. Tonight's talking points. Of course, the breaking news about TKO releasing a statement saying that Vince McMahon is a big risk factor. But also, we're gonna dive into AEW's latest hot young signing, Ric Flair, and talk about how this might be the jumping the shark moment for the company. Arguably, probably one of the worst signings, if not the worst signing since AEW was formed. We're gonna go into where should Will Ospreay sign. We'll speculate on that a little bit tonight. We'll recap some of Crown Jewel, but I'm sure that with this show being on Tuesday and you guys, the show Crown Jewel was on Saturday, we won't go too deep into it. We'll just kind of give our thoughts on some of the things that took place. And then we'll talk about some War Games stuff. War Games was officially announced last night on Monday Night Raw. So we'll dive into that here in a bit. So thank you guys for joining us. That's what we got to look forward to. However, before we get going, RN, on the side, but while you're not being a huge famous podcaster, right? You like to coach football.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just had like a championship game this last weekend you were telling me about.
Yeah, we just won the Super Bowl back-to-back champs, and we've won, what's this, our 6th year? Wait. Venom, 3rd, 4th, 5th. We've won 3 out of 5.
God damn.
Yeah.
So you won the Super Bowl. How was the game? Was it close?
No, it was 28-0.
28-0?
Yeah,
Oh my god, dude.
beat down.
Yeah, that's the beatdown right there, man. That's
And,
horrible.
we scored about 350 points in. Well, we scored 320 something. No, about 350 something in regular season, which is 8 games, and then 2 playoff games. So we scored close to 400 points this year.
Fuck. Okay, so now I get it. Because in the chat, you confused the shit out of me. You made it seem like it was 350 to 28.
No, that's
Yeah. That's why I was like, already.
Everyone else got it with you, bro.
Yeah, man. Oh, come on, then.
So yeah, we scored 300 points altogether.
All together. Got you.
Really more than 300, and we only gave up 28 all year in 10 games.
Look, sometimes you just got to spell stuff out for me, all right?
Yeah.
Come on.
I know
now.
you're not a big sports guy. My bad.
Not anymore. I used to be. I haven't watched like a full football game from start to finish outside of like the Super Bowl like a couple of years now. Not because I don't want to. I work Sundays, and in my job, I can't pay attention to the TV with what I'm doing.
Right.
Well, congrats, man. Congrats. This is your daughter's team, right?
No, my daughter cheers the grade below me. This is the team that I coach.
None of your family's on this team.
No, I haven't. Shit, my son's a senior. And I never even coached him in football anyway. I just kind of got suckered into it and fell in love with it. Been doing it. This is my 9th year.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I love the idea of working with kids and everything. So that's pretty dope. What'd y'all do to celebrate?
Nothing yet. We'll have an end of the year party in about a month or so. Probably like around the 1st of December. We normally do like a big end of the year party with the players, cheerleaders, parents, and shit. And they normally hand us out like gifts and stuff, and we'll get rings. Like, where's my ring at from last year? Got my ring from last year. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh hell yeah, man! Look at that. Oh, that's dope, dude.
So yeah, probably get another one of those. Definitely.
Does the hype die down by the time that rolls around? Like a month between your Super Bowl victory and then celebration, or?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, because I mean, it's like the kids go right into something else. Most of them go right into basketball or wrestling. So like it's not a big deal like that anyway. I mean, we knew what we came to do. Like we had a job to do. We did it. And on to the next.
That's awesome. Jadis Young just hopped in the chat. He says, "Yo, what's up, Jadis,
bro?" Besides being an Eagles fan.
Besides being an Eagles fan. How did the Eagles do against they played the Cowboys the other night, right?
Yeah, they put it on the end because the Cowboys are ass.
Yeah. The Eagles doing good this year. They only got like one loss.
But I hate the Cowboys. So.
Yeah, I know you hate the Cowboys. I know that much. Yeah. Well, dude, I'm stoked for you, man. That's awesome. You smashed them 28-0. Congrats to your team. What's the name of your team again?
Wilmington 5th grade Hurricanes.
Yeah, Hurricanes. Oh, that's a North Carolina team, man. Out here, we have
what the fuck a hurricane? Why they named us the Hurricanes? We're in Ohio. There ain't no
Ohio. You guys don't even get hurricanes, man.
It was dope though, but like we are in like Tornado Valley. Like tornado tears shit up here like every 10 years. And it was dope. Like when the games first started, like once a month, first Saturday every month, they set off the like emergency alarms or whatever. So like during the games and shit, like because we hosted all the Super Bowls, like every grade Super Bowl this year. So the alarms went off and all the people were like looking around like, damn, they take this shit serious, don't they?
Jadis Young wants to know our favorite NFL or NBA team. For me, NFL is going to be the Patriots. I grew up in New England. I grew up watching Drew Bledsoe and then Tom Brady when he took over.
New York Football Giants.
The Giants. Yeah.
Giants, Knicks, Yankees.
Fuck the Giants. That was like the Patriots' kryptonite back in the day. The only team to beat them in the Super Bowl twice.
Yep.
He says, y'all think CM Punk returns at Survivor Series? Oh, dude, that's you know what? Let's kick off tonight's show. That's a great question. Kick off tonight. CM Punk,
Eagles shit on Eagles fucking profile picture. And then your first fucking question is about CM Punk. Come on, bro.
No, man, Punk's intriguing. He is.
The only thing I hate about this CM Punk shit, like I don't mind. I think he should be in WWE. Because there's just so much shit that he can like not even match wise. Like I feel like they could use him like they did Edge, but also just like backstage. Even if he decided to be like a manager, you know what I'm saying? Like there's just like, regardless of how much we hate or like him, like everyone knows he has that, and he is a needle mover. Like regardless of how you feel about him, like look at AEW without him.
Yeah,
So, like,
no,
I
mean,
just don't want to do the speculation for another 8 years, bro. Like,
Collision,
that's the only thing I
no,
can't
no, no, no. Yeah, like the will he, won't he stuff will easily die down, I think, within a year's time if he doesn't debut. I don't think people.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I told you too, Collision was fire when he was running it or whatever. Like it was up there with SmackDown as one of the best shows. Like production wise, match wise, there were storylines that fucking made sense, and not just us having to go watch fucking Dark or.
Well, I think for me it was the pacing and the production.
Yeah, like I said, and not having to go check out other shows elsewhere to figure out why a match is happening. Like it was, like to me, besides SmackDown, it was probably the best show on TV. But like I said, I told you, it was gonna suffer in the ratings because of the time that it was on it. But like I always watch it. Like you know me, I barely watch everything. Like I watch Dynamite and Raw for the most part, and everything else I squeeze in when I can. But like I always went back and watched Collision because like it felt like WWE, but not at the same time, if that makes sense. Like it was a AEW show presented in a WWE way.
It was a cleaned up version of AEW.
It was what the number 2 wrestling promotion in the world. To me, it was what it should look like.
Yeah, they were. I missed the last 2 episodes, which I still want to go back and watch the Kenny Omega and MJF match. Apparently, that junk was really good.
5-star.
Yeah. But CM Punk going to WWE, I think, man, I think he will. I think the opportunity is really good to try to like, because I feel like if you have the right people at hand, which arguably won't be, because we know notoriously CM Punk not a Triple H fan, but assuming the right people in management could keep his head like in check, there's a lot to gain with CM Punk being part of your program.
And I don't even think it was necessarily him being a Triple H guy. I also think that Triple H, the wrestler, is not the same as Triple H, the boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think that Triple H knows what's best for business. Like, that's not just a motto. That's what he lives by. And I think that they could coexist. Like, I don't know how long it would last before CM Punk fucking implodes like he does everywhere he's been. But
that's always the looming question.
Right. But I think the relationship between him and Triple H is a little overblown because it was so long ago, and it was when Triple H was a wrestler. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I think Triple H has proven that he can get people on board.
Yeah, so to go back to Jadis's original question, does he return at Survivor Series? I'm still gonna go with no. I think it'll be Rumble. I think it's too soon. I do understand that they are in Chicago. CM Punk recently departed AEW. There's still that buzz around his name. You know, we admitted that buzz will probably dissipate, not for too long, but I think it's too early. I don't think they can quite get it done in time. I hope I'm wrong. I love chaos. I'd love to see his ass show up in WWE and shake stuff up, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, like I said, if it does, I'm calling Rumble if it happens.
Yeah. Okay. And then we'll answer this. He says, "Will Roman lose to The Rock, or will that match happen? If it happens, Roman is winning. There's no way Roman's taking."
I'm sick of that too. Yeah. I'm almost as sick as that as I am as will CM Punk sign somewhere.
Although the Roman Rock conversation has died down a bit.
Because it's not happening. Like, Rock is, first of all, he's 400 pounds of solid muscle that could explode at any second. Like, those knees are not what they used to be.
Hell no.
And I just don't think that WWE interests Rock like that anymore.
Well, I think it goes back to the lesson he learned in his match with Cena, and this is, and you've heard Cena say the same thing, is they just can't risk the injury.
Yeah,
you can't you go out there, you do that match, and you get injured. That's millions of dollars lost on production and all this other stuff in movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we forget he's the highest paid actor in the world.
Yeah. I don't
get that part.
Yeah, Jadis, I don't think the match is happening, but if it did happen, I think Roman takes the W hands down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the headlining story, man. So this is coming in. I got NoDQ.com up in front of me. It says Vince McMahon listed under risk factor section in new SEC filing from TKO. Of course, TKO is the company that was just created by owned by Endeavor. TKO is the merger of WWE and UFC. Yeah. So TKO, which encompasses WWE and UFC, announced its third quarter financial results today. In a SEC filing, Vince McMahon was listed under the risk factor section of the following, which the following stated. The special committee of independent members of WWE's board of directors investigation into allegations of misconduct by Mr. McMahon and any further allegations of and investigations may have an adverse financial and operational impact on our business performance. Meaning, Vince McMahon drama may cause us to lose money. And that is just one of the most honest statements that you're going to hear. Now, obviously, being listed as a risk, it might be a little clickbaity here for you guys today, but does that mean Vince McMahon gets fired from the company?
I don't think he's going to get fired, but whatever his contract is, when it's done, he's done. And I just want to say, go back and check the tapes. I told y'all this was the case when he forced himself back to do the sell. I told y'all this was the case when they started saying, when he was tearing up shit in the back and fucking like people were saying they weren't happy with that. And then when they anointed Triple H, like, I mean, a dude, what's he have? Like, what is it, like 20 or something charges still like pending or whatever, or still like waiting to be taken to trial? Like, you want to have a brand new $1 billion company and then one of your top executives has sexual assault, fucking
the NDAs, the expired NDAs and stuff.
Hiding money, moving money, all that shit. You want that to be out front and center in your brand new $1 billion company you just made that's less than a year old? Nah. No.
Yeah. He says, Jadis says, Vince, go sit on a couch somewhere. Yeah. Well, I think essentially that's kind of like my idea. Now, granted, obviously we're not on the inside of the business, but it does feel like Vince McMahon has been removed far from the ongoing day-to-day ongoings of WWE, whether that be creative,
and you got to remember, his new position wasn't just WWE; it was over UFC as well.
Right. So I think the way they want to utilize Vince is in his business arrangements. This just came up recently with the UFC in Saudi Arabia. Dana White, of course, the president of UFC, went on record stating that they just closed a deal with Saudi Arabia to host a UFC fight night in Riyadh, and he says that was due in part to Vince McMahon's connection with the local Saudi government. Mm-hmm. So that seems to be where the value is for Vince is once again the business aspects, the his connections. You know what I mean? Getting shit done. As far as like what goes on day to day in producing the live product that we ingest, I feel like that's what TKO has removed him from. Like they don't want him involved with that shit no more because frankly that's where all the bullshit happens, you know?
Well, not even that, you're more when you're doing business deals behind the scenes and flying to fucking Riyadh and shit and everything, you're not on anybody's radar. When you're front and center ripping up fucking scripts, redoing shows,
the headlines day in, day out.
Video of Seth Rollins getting the part where his shit was cut in the middle of the show on commercial break and shit. Like those type of things.
He looks so salty, man.
Keep you front and center, and that is not where they want this old fuck to be.
No. And so it's good on them to utilize it in this way, if that's, of course, what is taking place.
I told y'all they were getting rid of him. Everybody said I didn't know what I was talking about. Like, there's no way they'll get. Like, I told y'all once this was done, said and done, he was not going to be anywhere near any of these businesses.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this too, because Vince has been in power now for well over 3 decades. Is
longer than that, almost 5 decades.
Yeah, there's the narrative. The narrative was always that it was his world. You know what I mean? And we never thought we could see him removed from power. But the moment that Vince McMahon got a boss and somebody that doesn't live in the WWE bubble and hasn't lived under Vince McMahon's thumb,
right.
It's like, here's the reality check, man. Like, you're obviously we're obviously have you in a role. You've been in a role that is much more well suited for someone else, and
right.
due to your personal reasons and how you feel, you've never anointed that person to take over. But now that you have somebody over Vince, they go ahead and they make the change anyways. It's time to step aside.
He had a succession plan, and then he said fuck it and came back.
He couldn't follow through, man. He couldn't. Dude, sitting on that couch was too boring for him, man. No,
he's like,
dude.
Man, I gotta show somebody this mustache and this black hair, man.
Fucking hell. But yeah, so does that mean Vince is gonna be fired? No, no. They're just saying the obvious. Like, yeah, this dude's got a checkered past, and it's gonna come up whenever we have to have calls with our investors and right. all that stuff. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Vince loves drama. Yeah. He loves you can't avoid it. So, next up, let's talk about sticking from one problematic individual. Let's just jump right into the next one. AEW's latest hot signing. Ric Flair, man. RN, what are they doing over at my favorite show?
I mean, I don't think it's as bad as everyone else is saying and acting like it is, especially if they use him sort of like they've done Sting. But at the end of the day, he's still arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. So he has value.
He does. But he doesn't have the same value as, say, a William Regal. You know what I mean? Ric Flair's got the name value. He's got the merchandise. That's the only thing I can think of is
we also don't know if he has those other things because he's been so adamant about being a wrestler.
Bro,
so we don't know.
You don't drink and do coke for as long as Ric Flair has, and preserve your fucking brain. Okay,
I understand that, but also he's one of those things where he's forgotten more than 90% of the people in that fucking roster would ever learn. You know what I'm saying? So he has value. It just depends on what his mindset is and what Tony expects from him. If we get a Ric Flair match, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit. So
God no,
just
dude.
Putting that out there.
You know Flair's game. That's
what I'm saying.
He's back there. Hey, we can. He's like, hey, Sting. That retirement match. How about we retire? You know what I mean? He wants to get in on it.
That's what I think.
Oh my God! I hope not. This should be Sting's thing,
if not
man.
Him one-on-one, at least him involved in it. You know what I'm saying?
I'd like to see him ringside cheering the man on, but I feel like there's going to be a slight overshadow with Sting's retirement. I feel like Flair. I don't want to go out and say he's going to hog the spotlight, but I feel like he is going to be a distraction from what should be a very captivating retirement run for Sting, man. It makes me nervous, but also back to the general question, in the general thought of Ric Flair being signed. What value do you think he offers? Because the only thing that comes to mind for me is merchandising. I'm sure I'd love Ric Flair shit. You know what I mean? I almost considered buying his probably nasty ass energy drink for you and I to drink on tonight's show, but I couldn't bring myself to do it.
You do it, I'll drink it.
I'm sure we will at one point. I'm sure I will.
I said, I just don't know. Their booking shit has been so fucked the last year anyway. I don't know exactly what he could bring to a storyline, but I used to say the same thing about Sting. They have used Sting, chef's fucking kiss when it comes to these old fucks. You know what I'm saying? They'll throw him a win every now and then. He's not really squashing any young guys. He's propping up Darby. So, like, if you can find somebody to put Rick with, like maybe like a Ricky Starks or something like that, have him like in the background like he was with Triple H.
Yeah.
Doing Evolution, like in some type of role like that. And if he does end up in a tag team, like, I wouldn't mind that, like what Jeff Jarrett's doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I love what they're doing with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah,
It's a modern fucking miracle that somehow AEW made me interested in Jeff Jarrett.
I told you, bro. He's slapping us, bro. But that's the one thing they have done. Like, they have used the old guys good. Like, from Jake the Snake to Arn Anderson to fucking Sting, even Jeff Jarrett. Like I said, like, they're relevant, but they're not holding anybody back or dousing any young stars fire. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I wouldn't mind seeing Rick, like, get with Ricky and Big Bill and kind of start, like, a fucking Evolution style fucking, like, stable or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things you can do. Like I said, it just really depends on what Rick's mind frame is and what this contract really is about.
Yeah, I get that. I just, there's also something else. It just feels like also the ideology of AEW, the heart and soul of what AEW is supposed to stand for. It feels like as of late we've strayed as far away from it as we can. AEW used to be the alternative to WWE, and they used to point out the glaring issues, like using all these old wrestlers, like WWE using old wrestlers way past their prime. Think DX beating up the Ascension, beating up FTR and stuff like that, and just us getting sick of all these old timers soaking up so much TV time, while the new fresh talent are left to just get squashed in and day out. Remember when Ali was on Talking Smack and was talking about asking why, I forget who, but like I think it was like the old school Raw, like why NWO or somebody got so much TV time, and they posed the statement like, well, these are the guys that paved the path, and he said, when can we walk that path? Like that was supposed to be WW or AEW, was like, here is the show where you're gonna see these guys walk that path every week, and now it feels like I don't feel like we're seeing too much of that right now, man. With granted, Sting, love Sting on there, but let's take a look at it. Your biggest stars in AEW right now is Sting. Let's just throw Ric Flair in there. Edge, fucking Christian. These are your biggest names right now, getting a lot of the spotlight on AEW programming. And not to mention, there's plenty of other ex-WWE wrestlers in there, which, like I said, I love.
Moxley, all of them.
Jericho. Yeah, Jericho. He's always in one of the main things. So it's like, it used to be like, a mix, like one or two spots for a big WWE name, but now it is feeling like kind of like when TNA was shitty because they just signed up every WWE talent and thought that would just bring the ratings in.
Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, and now the ratings are kind of showing it, man. The fans, the interest in AEW right now, I think is at an all-time low, and I believe that it is currently going down. Like right now, they're skidding. Like it isn't like they had a bad week, but we're anxious. Like no, we are in the midst of that honeymoon phase ending and them falling into potentially the same pitfalls that TNA did.
It just goes back to the same thing that happened with TNA, with Dixie Carter, a motherfucker that don't know nothing about wrestling, just signing names that have name recognition and not thinking about, first of all, A, what your plan is for him, and B, how far does that name recognition go as far as propping up the people you're trying to build the company around.
No bigger example than, and I hate to say it, but Adam Copeland right now. As much as I love Edge and I want to see him in a captivating story, he was already kind of fizzling out in WWE on his way out. They didn't have him, they had the potential to do something really interesting with him if he had won that inaugural tournament for the World Heavyweight title. That would have been probably the coolest thing Edge could have done, but they didn't go that way, and they didn't have anything for him. And they've sent him over to WWE, and they still, AEW, and they still, AEW doesn't have the most captivating thing for him. Of course, they're doing the thing with Christian, and unfortunately, I feel like it's actually kind of bringing Christian down a little bit. I feel like Christian was doing really cool stuff, and now it's kind of getting a little muddled, a little muddy.
I mean, Edge is doing the same thing he was doing in WWE. It's like it's nothing any different. Like he's doing the same. I'm a star. I'm showing respect to them. I want respect. Like literally, like he's not done anything different than what he was doing in WWE.
His WWE retirement run.
Right.
And he's just kind of bringing that over to AEW.
Right along.
Granted, I know I imagine the end game is to get Edge and Christian back together and them have like a really good nostalgic fun run. You know, as I'm assuming some funny ass baby faces, which is what they're best at whenever they're in a team.
Right.
But getting there is going to be kind of a slog. It feels like.
Yeah, like I'm not interested in it at all. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I turned the channel when Edge is on, but like I'm not paying attention whatsoever.
No, it's a mix of me watching TV and looking at my phone. You know what I mean? So yeah, and that's why I feel like this because of what AEW was formed under, the message, its mission statement of why it was formed to begin with. When you fast forward, if you were in that crowd in that parking lot and you heard the rally cry of AEW as they were forming it, and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks are talking about all the fucking awesome things AEW is going to stand for, and then you fast forward almost 5 years later and you see Ric Flair signed to AEW, it's like, how the fuck did we get here? This is not what we signed up for, man. And granted, you know, I'm not saying AEW's trash, but they're slowly, if they're not careful, they're going to slowly strip away everything that fans of AEW love about the show until they're left with nothing. And that's what they have to be careful of. And
that's what's going to happen. We're going down Dixie Carter territory right now because he doesn't let the other wrestling minds around him help. So
yeah,
it's gonna happen. Like, and I've been telling you that for the past year and a half, 2 years. We're slowly knocking his own knees out from under, and it started with the CM Punk signing. I'm sorry, it did.
Yeah, man. But that being said, we'll see how it goes. I'm still interested in Sting's retirement run. That's where my attention is. I don't want my attention on Ric Flair on Wednesdays. This is Sting's time. It's Sting's fucking time to do this and have this run that's going to carry him into, I believe, March of next year. Noob says, hey, everyone, how y'all doing today? Doing good, man. Hope you're doing well, Noob.
What's up, Noob?
He says, AEW is rapidly declining. I agree. You know, like I said, it hurts me to say it because AEW is like my favorite show. But yeah, it is. I agree. They're slipping. They're slipping right now. Yeah. Who do you think Sting's retirement match should be against?
It's probably gonna be Darby.
That's what I think
Rick.
too.
Darby,
dude, fuck Rick. Fuck Rick. I think it should be
hasn't
Darby.
really have any they haven't really had any connections or like crossings with anybody except for fucking Christian and
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't really know. Like I don't really know. Like where's Sting's head at? Like is he trying to have a real fucking match or is it trying to be tag match? Like whatever. Like I don't know.
I say he does tag matches the majority of the way there to mitigate the risk factor of if injuring himself, which it sounds fucking stupid to say because even though he's been primarily in tag matches, he hasn't really mitigated too many risk factors jumping off
everything.
Everything, including that terrifying spot that still makes me sweat thinking about it.
Right.
When he jumped from the ladder inside the ring to the announce table outside and he fell short. How his knees didn't explode is beyond me. But yeah, I think it should be Darby. I think they should do face versus face. I think they should closely follow the template that Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair had. However, Ric Flair was showing he didn't want to put it down, whereas Sting is acknowledging it's time to hang it up. So, obviously you can have your little differences there, but I really feel like, you should have that.
It'll probably be Darby, and he'll probably put Darby over for the last time. That's what I'd hang my hat on.
I hope so. I really hope so. I think that's probably the coolest match I can think of. So from one hot signing to another, RN, your boy Will Ospreay has his contract coming up. It expires in 2024, I believe. Around February is when it's set to expire. Ospreay has shown interest in both AEW and WWE. Obviously, he performed at All In Wembley, and he went on record saying that was like the coolest thing he's ever done in pro wrestling. He even went ahead and maybe a little prematurely tattooed the record attendance ticket sales on his arm.
Forgot about that.
It wasn't in there. However, he has some intriguing stuff lined up in WWE. If he went there, of course, he has that built-in feud with Seth Rollins.
That's the last dream match of all the current people.
Yeah,
AEW's pretty much gave us everything for the most part. The last actual real dream match is Seth versus Ospreay.
Yeah, which that would be really good. I feel like WWE would find a nice way to bring up the feud. Those guys obviously have gone back and forth on Twitter several times. There was that one time when Seth Rollins was waving the WWE flag and bragging about his bank account. Not many people were a fan of that. However, since they've kind of teased each other, I think at one point Rollins was saying like the water is warm or something. However,
to me, Ospreay is a younger, more charismatic AJ Styles.
Yeah, that's a cool way to put it.
We never thought that would happen. Granted, it took probably 10 years longer than what it should have, but we still got a solid almost fucking 10 years out of AJ being one of the top wrestlers in the world and still being a top draw when he's healthy. So
yeah. And
there's so many other feuds like Ricochet and Ospreay pretty much made each other on the independents and then New Japan and stuff. So there's all types of matches baked in for this.
Any hardcore wrestling fan has seen the clip of Ricochet and Ospreay, I think in New Japan, doing all the flipsy stuff, because that's kind of what Cornette latched onto,
right?
In his hate for the choreographed style of indie wrestling, and kind of that match was like a catalyst for a lot of wrestling drama about the in-ring style.
Ospreay too is he's bigger and stronger than Ricochet. He turned himself into a heavyweight, or at least a junior heavyweight. So he's not that skinny, frail kid he was back then when him and Ricochet has. Where Ricochet is small, Ospreay's really not that small of a fucking guy. He just happens to be able to twist and turn and fly like one, but he's not that small of a guy. So I think especially if you really have no chance of getting MJF, which I don't think they do. I think he's just playing this up, and he's probably already signed a deal, or at least is close to signing a deal.
I would think so.
Ospreay is your next best fucking option.
Yeah. So with that being said, obviously he's still Aussie Open is already in AEW. Ospreay has some big matches lined up in AEW too as well. You got the Kenny Omegas. You have you have that built-in feud, which is hopefully culminating at Wrestle Kingdom, I think, because they're both one up on each other, right? Or have we already got the 2 out of 3?
I think we got 2 out of 3. I think
Ospreay
won 2.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. Maybe he did win the last 2. But no, there's plenty of dream matches in AEW. There's arguments for both companies. I think the arguments
honestly, there isn't. I mean, maybe so a little bit now, but all those top guys, he's already wrestled all of them because they were all in New Japan together or other places. So there's not many people on the roster that we haven't seen him go against as far as the top guys go.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the fresher matchups is in WWE. I'll give you that. It's right. And then also another argument for WWE their popularity is on the rise. The buzz right now is on WWE, and also WWE can help him develop that style for longevity. Because let's face it, wrestlers like him, Kenny Omega, those guys are really
that's
rough
the
on.
thing. That's the stigma that he has. He hasn't wrestled that crazy style that you think in probably 3 or 4 years since he became an actual heavyweight in the heavyweight title contention. Like, he doesn't fly like you think he does. Like, he does a couple moves here and there, but a lot of his moves are more so inside the ring, flying, like kind of like he does like a Cody Cutter and some other things, but like he doesn't really do many crazy things. Like, even his finishers, neither one of his finishers are aerial finishers.
Right.
He's got the hidden blade and the fucking Storm Zero. Not Storm Zero. What is it called? I forgot what it's called. Storm something. Like, he's after he had
Stormbreaker, maybe?
Stormbreaker, yeah. After he had that conversation with Jericho, and like Jericho pretty much told him, like, relax. Like, he has. And like I said, he bulked up, he slowed his style down, and he changed his style a little bit. Like, he still does the crazy aerial shit that we know him for, but that's not a part of his main style like it was, like, say 4 or 5 years ago.
I think more or less what I was trying to get at is, you know, because that was the first part, and you're absolutely right. He has already kind of altered. Is WWE will obviously have the higher potential to help him further develop his character work, and then longer term stories, whereas AEW is still very centric about the in ring work,
and it'll give them a big star in the UK that's not one of their guys, that's still one of the top guys in his country, especially with all the shit that happened with NXT UK leaving and everything. Going to a UK show or a UK tour with Will Ospreay headlining, like, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. No, it is, man. So, if gun to your head, RN, I mean, obviously it's quite a while till February. We still have a couple months. If you were Ospreay right now, where are you signing?
WWE. I mean, you've done everything you could do with New Japan and AEW for the most part. I mean, you've been there off and on the past 2 or 3 years. I mean, most of those guys you've had matches with because they were all in Japan with you before they started AEW. Like you said, there's some matches there, but for the most part, the fresher new matchups and just the exposure itself, I think he's got to at least try it. Like, he's got to.
Yeah, and also it's because too, if his contract's up in February, he might be a little too late to miss the Royal Rumble. However, it doesn't mean he can't debut like Cody right at WrestleMania and make him a star right out the gate. The initial presentation. Yeah, absolutely. Make a debut.
Even if he just comes out and attacks Seth afterwards, or cost Seth the title at Mania, anything. It lines up perfectly. If he's really done in February.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Right now, if I was Will Ospreay, I'm probably going WWE. AEW is saturated, kind of like people are starting to learn, like, just because you sign there doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be utilized. And WWE right now is really trying to play nice, it seems, with their new signings. They're trying to make them a big deal. We're also watching other wrestlers develop, like on Monday Night Raw, where we saw why is Zoe Stark? Yeah, is probably the latest star. Man, they made Zoe Stark and Ivy Nile both feel huge in the same night. Ivy Nile made her debut in the Women's Battle Royal. By the way, also, did you watch Raw by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah. The best Battle Royal they've done in
a long time.
Years. Like, when have we had a Battle Royal where, like, you were, like, emotionally invested? Like, they hyped it up all night. They gave everybody legitimate, like, promos going into it, and then the match itself, they were able to let it breathe and tell stories. Ivy Nile, the newcomer, coming up with, help me out with the tag team, the Creed Brothers.
Creed Brothers.
Yeah, Ivy Nile
had part of Diamond Mine.
Yeah, a huge impressive showing, and then Zoe Stark, also not only winning, but having, like, the I think she had, like, the most eliminations too. I want to say. Oh man, it was fantastic.
The thing I like about Zoe too is, like, she can fly, really, if they let her. but she's also powerful as fuck, which we've got to see some of that in the battle royal. Even though a lot of the women, especially the top girls, they're bigger than her, but she can still fucking hang with them. Like she can probably dunk a lot of them on their fucking heads too if given the chance. So like that's why I'm interested to see her and Rhea 1-on-1 and see where that goes. I don't think she'll beat Rhea, but at least I think there's a chance to make her a little bit bigger star and be able to take her a little bit more serious as a contender.
Yeah, and also I think there's something to say about just how comfortable Zoe Stark looks on the main roster. She didn't seem like for a moment she was blinded by the bright lights.
No.
I feel like her essentially kind of like her introduction working under Trish Stratus, both like on screen and most likely like behind screen.
Right.
I think paid dividends. I think she probably took full advantage of that while she did it, and just it's kind of like how like Kevin Owens came up and had this very like unapologetic nuance to him. Like when he was on main roster, he essentially is like, I'm not giving like any of the veterans an inch. I'm here. I belong here. It's just like it was just like an aura too. He didn't have to like say it necessarily. Probably didn't hurt.
Zoe had that in NXT. Like you knew that she would be a bigger star on the main roster than she ever was on NXT.
Yeah. And I think that's like the best way I can compare is that feeling that Kevin Owens had. Now, granted, Kevin Owens beat John Cena on his debut match, which you can't ask for a better start than that. But no, I get that feeling with Zoe Stark, man. She feels legit. Yeah. She feels legit, dude. The only gripe I had about this is like you're putting her in this title match like literally 2 days after she lost the championship match. You know what I mean? It just feels kind of weird, but granted, it was like a fatal 5-way.
It was another multi-man or multi-woman match, so it's like you kind of overlooked the loss. You know what I'm saying? Even though she was used as a fucking weapon on it.
Yeah. And then also, I do like going back to the Battle Royal, they weaved in a lot of stuff in there, man. They weaved in the disdain for Nia Jax. New brought up a feud kicked off between Xia Li knocking out Becky Lynch before the match even started. So like they did. I've never seen like I really fail to recall the last time I've seen a Battle Royal utilized so well. And that includes the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it was an awesome show. Yeah, no, it was really good, man. Sticking with Raw, we had the War Games. The War Games announced for Survivor Series. We knew this was coming. It's officially announced, though. We finally got the teams. If you've been watching Raw at all for like the last 2 months, it's been obvious as hell. But here it is. It's the Judgment Day taking on the team of Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and help me out with the last one.
Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso.
Yeah, Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso. Oh yeah, man, fucking Jey also too, man. Looking like $1 million lately. His merch apparently selling real good, man.
Main event Jey.
So yeah, it looks really good, and then they'll probably get So you think it's going to stick with the 4-on-4, or do you think they'll try to shoehorn Kevin Owens in there and then like another member? But I think it's just going to say the 4-on-4.
I think it's just going to say 4-on-4 because I think it's going to be Raw matches and then probably one on SmackDown, maybe. I think that we're going to get this one for Raw, and then I think we're going to get like a Raw versus SmackDown one just because of the interactions we had with Aldis and fucking what's his name. I think that they're gonna shoehorn one of those in just because.
Oh, you talking about Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis having?
Yeah, remember he made him leave because he was talking to his wrestlers and shit. He was like, you know what, you can leave.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it, man. I do. I really like the presence that they've given those guys too as well. By the way, do you think we'll just get a straight up match between Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce?
No, I thought if we were going to get an Adam Pearce match, we would have already got it by now. I just don't think Aldis is going to be GM that long. I mean,
you think he's going to go into active talent?
Well, yeah, I saw something. I think he's younger than Roman Reigns, and either the same age as Seth or close to the same age as Seth. Like he's not like old by any means.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem it. And he looks in incredible shape too, by the way. Granted, we only see him in a suit, but he looks jacked.
Definitely jacked, and he was just wrestling matches not too long ago. So
yeah,
it isn't like they just like signed him off the fucking street or like off his couch. Like he'll be wrestling, I'd say, at least a couple times here within the next year for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Noob's got an interesting take on it. He says for the men on Raw, you got the Team American Nightmare versus Judgment Day, and for the women's on SmackDown, Io Sky, Kairi, Asuka, and a mystery partner versus Bayley, Shotzi, and Charlotte, and Bianca Belair. I'm getting the feeling that Asuka is turning heel for the build for War Games. Yeah, SmackDown's got one of the more intriguing stories because we'll go ahead and use that actually as a transition to talk about Crown Jewel. We saw the return of Kairi Sane over on Crown Jewel on Saturday. Unfortunately, the crowd was dead for Bianca and Io Sky. However, I still think it was awesome to bring her back, especially how they. I know they. I don't.
Too.
It was. Yeah, both women's matches were really good. I love that you have Kairi coming in to help Io, and Io celebrates with Kairi, and you see a dejected Bayley who's proven that she's been Io's fan. This whole will she, won't she turn on her.
But she's also helped her a few different times. Her getting interfered didn't help Io a couple different times, and even in this match.
But her heart's been in the right place. Is the
I feel like they're just doing the JD McDonough thing on us, like.
Yeah. But my favorite story beat about this is Bayley's the one who beat Kairi Sane out of the company.
Yeah, literally.
So there's gonna be that wedge on Friday. We're gonna find out exactly how Kairi and Io and all of them are gonna respond to all this. And yeah, you very well could be looking at creating a separate match for the women there. But yeah, so speaking of Crown Jewel, other than that, it was a pretty good show, right? It's pretty decent.
It was a Raw. It was a good episode of Raw.
Well, I mean, they had some stuff that was like pay-per-view worthy. I think the
like what?
I think the Cena and Solo pay-per-view worthy. Yeah. Cena getting like murdered by Solo Sikoa.
I don't think. I mean, they could have did that on an episode of SmackDown.
No, not Cena getting absolutely squashed like that. There's no way.
Ending a show with SmackDown, like it was. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not like shitting on it, but like
Ray and Logan Paul was pay-per-view.
That's
yeah,
about,
that
I
is.
keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, Ray and Logan Paul tore it down,
Definitely
man.
Pay-per-view, and he got a title. I'm anxious to see like who his next opponent's gonna be, and like how much are we gonna see him.
Yeah. I think we'll see Logan Paul a decent amount. I don't know if he'll be every week, but maybe three times a month. You know what I mean?
Get like him on his show talking shit, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like,
and on the shows where he's not on Raw, SmackDown's gonna show highlights or no
something, yeah.
Something. You know, I mean, they're gonna show clips of like Twitter and all that other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, Crown Jewel was fun. It was a fun little stop. I liked having it on in the background. You know, I'm glad it didn't end my night. It was really nice to watch it in the middle of the day, and then I still had my whole day ahead of me, instead of having to go to bed after the. I will say it feels like there was like 3 talking points from that show. The first being, like I said, the Kairi story. That's probably the most like intriguing actual story angle. There was the big moment, which was the John Cena getting spiked to death by Solo. I think he ate like somewhere around 11 or 15 spikes. But then, unfortunately, there was the disdain for the Roman match, which really was the prototype or the stereotypical by-the-numbers bloodline Roman match. Visual pin, bloodline interference, Roman wins. Like, it was probably one of the most phoned in produced matches, and I think that really got some people twisted. Granted, we're not really talking about people walking off and I'm boycotting WWE, but at this point, it's hard to garnish interest in Roman. And then not to mention, we're getting reports that that's it for him for 2023.
Which, I mean, like, what did people expect? Like, that's what we've been getting, and that's what made the bloodline hot. Like, I mean, to me, I think that they sacrificed, what's his name, too soon.
Yeah.
We definitely should have waited on this because, I mean, he's literally was just going to be fed to fucking Roman regardless. But no, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I understand why people were upset about it and like why people complained about it, but like, it is what it is. I mean,
yeah. I didn't expect anything else from him. Like, I feel like it was the easiest one to see coming. Like, we knew it was going to be a by the numbers Roman Reigns match, and we were right. We were spot on the money. There was nothing in there that even was remotely like didn't see coming. Like, we saw it. We saw the whole thing.
Literally.
Yeah. One of the neat aspects though, because you hear the argument that Roman's defending his title very few times throughout the year. The championship reign is dragging out, you know what I mean, and people are becoming bored of it. I think one of the lesser talking points is that because Roman is away so much, WWE is actually finally managing to build up babyface stars.
Which I think was the whole point of all of this.
Yeah, so you got Cody Rhodes, LA Knight. Look at Jey Uso. Jey Uso is probably one of the coolest fucking main event baby faces that we never saw coming. Like, who would have ever thought like one of the Uso brothers would be, you know, a potential main eventer? Sami Zayn, he just had that championship match on Raw, and I feel like at that match with Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn has now become undeniable that he has to have a world title before he retires.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he sealed his fate. At some point, he's going to get his hands on the strap. Before it's all said and done in Sami Zayn's career.
I want to see a heel Sami Zayn, like cleaned up, not looking like a homeless fucking Vietnam vet. Change the gear up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see like NXT Sami Zayn cleaned up, like ready to fucking go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that a lot of that is what's held him back. Is the fucking way that he looks and like how people perceive him, and like, let's get away from the fucking comedy shit. Let's go.
Yeah, man. No, and I'm right there. I'm right there with you. So I feel like that's the cool thing is because, I forget where I watched it from. I want to say it was probably like a Wrestle Talk video, but they laid it out. Actually, it's pretty obvious. It's easy to overlook. Is your baby faces, your top baby faces, people like fighting champions, you right? And so those are the guys that we just said are week in and week out. You got Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, LA Knight. And your heels, in turn, need to be the opposite of that. You need to find reasons to dislike your heels. And
run away from the action. Run away from the title defenses. Like, it's wrestling 101.
Exactly. And so the argument that Roman's championship run has become stale is only one side of the viewpoint on this. The other side of the viewpoint is look at how amazing like the WWE's babyfaces scene has become seemingly overnight.
And not even that, the main event people that are being made overnight.
Yeah.
Like I said, you just named three off the top. Fucking Sammy, Jay, and fucking
Cody.
No, Cody was already there, but Sammy, Jay, and LA Knight. Like,
LA Knight, yeah.
3 main event players now.
Yeah. And all of them you can argue world championship for, because once Roman releases that death grip on that title, you got so much potential for that belt. Because I wouldn't go into too long. I wouldn't necessarily hot potato the belts around, but at the same time, I wouldn't be in a hurry to start handing off another prestigious, huge, long run. I'd be looking for captivating stories, high octane matches with outcomes you don't see coming, and you can crown several new champions over the next couple of years, assuming Roman fucking loses at some point.
When Seth loses his belt too.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's It's exciting. So, on one hand, yeah, these Roman matches are a big bummer whenever we get them. But on the other hand, you look at what else is going on the show, and you believe that's a direct result because of it.
Right.
And so that's pretty badass. I think it's a really positive note to take from all that.
Couldn't agree more.
Look at us, RN. There's a couple positive guys.
All right. But I mean, that's
All
what
right.
you brought Triple H into and for, is to refresh the product, make new stars, push the fucking product forward. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're getting. So,
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's a pretty cool thing that's going on, and yeah, like I said, I've become. It's weird because going back to Jey Uso, because I forget about it until I see him on the screen, and I'm like, yeah, that fucking guy is huge now. Like he doesn't feel out of place like the tag team wrestler that is just kind of filling in.
You can even hear, like, whenever he's on screen, just like randomly, you can hear the crowd like screaming for him.
Yeah.
Like in backstage segments, and like that's something that they can hang their hat on for sure.
Yeah, man, that's cool. And apparently his merch is selling really well. Like they say, like at the live events, the Jey Uso merch moves really well. But yeah, so that's it, man. That's pretty good. That's pretty much. I think that's our show for tonight.
Works for me.
Yeah, man. So let us know what you guys think. Where Will Ospreay should wind up. Do you think CM Punk is gonna debut at Survivor Series? And then yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know. I think those are the only two questions I had. What you guys think? But thank you all for listening once again. You can catch us on twitch.tv/SmackRaw, youtube.com/SmackRaw podcast, and then of course where all the audio versions of the show are found. However, RN, what do we like to shout out though on our shows, man?
Sobriety. We're here for you. You're not alone. Hit us up. We got you. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. Ever.
Yeah. Hell no. I tell you, I don't want to give away exactly who it is, but if you've watched the show long enough, it won't be hard to piece together. But a relative of mine reached out to me and admitted that they're feeling kind of lost.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking because I know they were intoxicated when they sent it. Mm-hmm. But that's the first step, man, is reaching out. You know, and I told him that. I said, look, I'm not gonna lecture you on all of the things that alcohol has taken away from you. I'm just gonna let you know that I'm here for you. If you ever want to talk, I'm here to talk to you, and just to know that this fight that you feel like you're in, once again, you're not alone in it. There's so many of us, dude. There's so many. You
can come out on the other side. That's what people always just don't realize, that if you put the work in and you take it serious, you can come out better on the other side.
Bro, look at you, man. Look at you. Like you were at like rock bottom a little over a year ago. You know what I mean? Like you were at rock bottom. You've lost family members. You've lost loved ones walked out on you, and you said enough was enough. You told me, you told those around you, and you stuck with it, and you've regained your life back in a year's time, which is amazingly fast, RN.
Yeah,
like how much you regained back in your life, dude. It's fascinating. And I think that also speaks to it too, is once you do decide that you need help.
Yeah. That's the thing. You got to get over your own ego. Once you get over your own ego, everything else becomes so much easier and falls in place like it should, and it's easier to get back to once people realize and see that it's not just for show, that you're actually putting in the work. So, and
they come back too. Exactly. They people come back, man. I will say that. Yep. So yeah, once again, you guys, if you're suffering addiction, mental health issues, please don't hesitate to reach out. Talk to us, talk to those around you. Don't suffer in silence. But that's gonna do it for us this week. RN, you got some puppies on the ground?
Yeah, we got a few litters on the ground. Message me at Route 4 Kennels on IG, at Route 4 Kennels on Facebook, Mr. 8984 on Twitter. Yeah, I got you. I got pictures. I got pups. I got all types of shit. Hit me up.
Yeah, dude. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's always awesome to be able to interact with you guys whenever we're doing the shows. Until next time, y'all have a good one.
See y'all next week.